Hello, sir. How do you feel about the way your teachers let you talk in school? Do you have freedom of speech?
No, it's bull. Man, our teachers suck. We should be allowed to say what the hell we want.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, really. Bullshit. That's all I have to say about that. Miss, do you have freedom of speech at school?
I don't know. I don't ever cuss at school because it is not very nice. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I guess we can cuss. They don't really care. The teachers actually are the ones that cuss a lot. They don't care.
How do you feel about freedom of speech in school? Do you feel like your teachers let you have freedom of speech a lot?
A little bit, yeah.
Do you get to say whatever you want, or do you get in trouble?
I can say what I want.
Sure.
Okay, so how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools? Do you think kids should be able to say whatever they want, or just no?
I think they should be able to express their opinions, but you have to keep in mind that you don't have the right to defame or, make derogatory comments about others.
Yeah.
But yeah, your opinions definitely should be
Hey,
expressed.
how do you feel about freedom of speech in school? Do you think they should be able to say whatever they want, or what?
Who do you mean by they?
The kids.
There's freedom of speech, but there's also not a freedom of consequence. You can say whatever you want, but then you have to be okay with the consequence if what you say is not appropriate for the school.
Alright, thank you. Hello today. How do you feel about freedom of speech in schools? Do you think the kids should be more responsible with their words, or do you think they're just being free?
Responsible. We all have a responsibility in society to be responsible human beings, so all of us students.
Hello, how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools? Do you think the kids abuse their freedom?
Sometimes I think the kids abuse it. I think the adults abuse it. I think sometimes we have to remember that we have to love each other and care about each other, and sometimes what we say just doesn't need to be said. Like, I don't like to be
Hello, how do you
called
feel
names.
about freedom of speech in schools?
Well, I think in schools, teachers should be allowed to be free to say whatever they want. Students should only be allowed to say what we let them say.
Hello, what's your views on freedom of speech in school?
I think people should be allowed to speak their minds.
Thank you. Hello, how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools?
I think kids should be allowed to talk about whatever they want because they're in a place for learning, and that's how you learn.
Thank you. Hello, how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools?
I feel good about it.
Hello, sir, how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools?
Well, freedom of speech, of course, is extremely important, as long as it's within reason. Because remember that freedoms stop when it hurts someone else's freedom. And of course, the most basic thing to remember is common sense. But alas, common sense is not a flower that grows in everyone's garden.
Thank you. Hey, how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools?
I feel like people should really make use of it, and they should really appreciate that fact that they have freedom of speech.
Hi, how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools?
Depends on what you mean.
Do the teachers get mad at you if you talk about certain subjects or anything?
Well, yeah, that's a given, anything inappropriate.
What about if you talk about politics?
I haven't had any problems with that yet, so.
Good, thank you. How do you feel about freedom of speech in schools? Do you feel like the teachers get mad at you if you talk about certain subjects?
Well, yeah. I mean, they try to act like they go with it, but I'm guessing that they don't, approve,
Yeah. Hi, how do you feel about freedom of speech in schools?
I feel that we should have it because it's just all depend on the way that you're raised. That's how freedom of speech is, really. On if you're responsible. It's your choice if you want to make the decision.
Thank you.
Alright, today in class is free work day. Go ahead and do it.
Hello, work. Hey, man. Shut up.
Shut up. Stop talking. Stop talking.
Man. I don't care, man. I don't like this. What's your problem? What's your problem, man?
Quiet. Quiet.
Or else. What?
You go out of the classroom.
Freedom of speech, man.
Quiet.
Okay, now, will you arrest me? No! Please!
Court's in session. Call. Tinker versus Desmar. Alright, Tinker, what is your accusations?
She was using free speech in the classroom, and in the classroom, I am the law!
Now, what is yours?
My lawyer here is going to defend me.
The courts of law great freedom of speech in schools. Although schools, administration, and principals can still limit student speech, they do not have free rein. They must evaluate the likely effects that the speech will have on a school and then make the informed decisions.
You're supposed to help me. That's not for me, that's against me. Jeez. Okay, freedom of speech, First Amendment, man. Okay.
Quiet in court.
This is an outrage.
Quiet. Papers say
I don't like you.
she does have freedom of speech. In the classroom, you are allowed to stop speech, but using excess force lands you in jail, sir. Oh, where are you?
Okay, stop.
I really wish I had some donuts right now. Don't you wish you had some donuts?
Donuts sound pretty good.
I want some donuts.
Some coffee?
Something like that. I really wish I had some donuts right now. That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. Really use some donuts. I'm hungry for donuts. Pretty good.
Did I say donuts?
Hi! I got donuts.
Donut man!
Oh my god!
Donuts! Get the donut man!
Victory's ours! Got donuts. Curb stomp them! Brought to you by Blue Man Donuts!
In a 7-2 decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the students. The court found that schools officials can limit students' rights in order to preserve the order and safety, but they must be able to justify their actions. The symbolic favor of the students was not disruptive or likely to lead to any disturbances, so it was protected under the First Amendment. Justice Fortas delivered the majority opinion of the court.